Alrighty, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Cory Sanning Show. This Tuesday, April 7th edition of the show. I'm your host, yours truly, coming out to you with a jam-packed show in terms of content today, all related to sports. So those of you that have that tune in for other reasons, I do apologize. You'll have to wait until tomorrow. So, jam-packed show for you today. I've got big news that I'm so happy to announce because I finally got a website done for the company, and Dixie is underneath my desk being a shithead as usual. You can't win for losing having animals, I swear. But was a little late catching up on this, but Patrick Beverley goes out on a limb and says that Dwyane Wade is better than that James Harden is better than Dwyane Wade, and D Wade took exception to that. They got a little back and forth, and we're going to go over just how ludicrous it is for anyone to think that James Harden is better than Dwyane Wade. And we're going to go, James Harden's fans have been flaming me on Twitter since I tweeted that last week. So those of you that have just tuned into the show, please like the video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have not, hit that notification bell when you get notified when we drop our daily content. Then obviously, those in the audio-only audience, please go to sanningmedia.com. Check out the website as well. This episode is brought to you by our friends at BioWorks Knoxville, Knoxville's premier health and wellness recovery headquarters. Get into that here in just a little bit. Got some more content coming courtesy of them as well. But it's a sports-loaded show today, and I'm really excited about it. Those of you that want to start weigh in, please weigh in the chat. I actually got the chat posted on stage now, so those of you that see that, Dixie, I'm going to mute it for a second. Yeah, I swear. When we come back from California in a week and a half, some of these animals are going to be gone. But, Dixie, go. What did I tell you? I swear. Oh, yoy. But, James Harden better than Dwyane Wade? Really? And Lamar Jackson reports to Ravens OTAs, the first day of the offseason program, and national analysts were A, made a fool, Dan Orlovsky, B, moved the goalpost, Mike Florio, and C, stating ludicrous comparisons, Eric Mangini, 2 years past. We'll react to those as well, and the Ravens will be getting new uniforms on April 16th. I'm excited about that. So, without further ado, let's get right into the content. Those of you that know, Patrick Beverley, very outspoken, was outspoken during his playing days and was been outspoken during his, transition to the media atmosphere too. Comes out with a rather hot take. Well, nuanced fans don't believe it's a hot take. I do believe it's a hot take. That James Harden is better than Dwyane Wade. His primary argument was based on career statistics. It's much like the LeBron fans try to usurp LeBron over Michael Jordan because of his longevity and all of his statistical totals. It's a ludicrous argument. Ludicrous argument on its face. And obviously, you can vote in the poll as well. Who's better? Dwyane Wade or James Harden? So, D Wade, as you all know, clapped back at this. And obviously on his podcast on the Y Network. We're going to watch D Wade's reaction, and then we'll react on the other side.
Pat Bev came out and just talked about me and James. Another conversation with me and James. Pat just came out definitive. He was definitive. James Harden is better than Dwyane Wade.
Stop. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. He was definitive. He was very definitive in his answer. And I was just sitting there like, okay, Pat, what's your facts?
Right.
To say that someone's better, or just come out and say what I personally like, the style of play that I like to see.
That's a great way to
is
say
X, Y, and Z. Don't you ever fix your mouth to say nobody is better than me when you wasn't better than me. Like, you can't do that. Like, you talk about a better player, you're talking about every aspect of the game of basketball. You know how good I was at a lot of aspects of the game, but people like to see he didn't score 70 or he didn't score 60 or he didn't get whatever the game that you like to see and you like, man, he a bad boy. We're all bad boys. None of us feel that the next person is better than us at the game of basketball. But what you like is what you like because
Right.
that's what people like. They like people 6'6". They like people 6'7". They like people 6'8". They like people with handles. What
Now, I will say, and those of you that are in the chat, I do see that the poll should be in the comments on YouTube. If it's not, let me know. I can try to get StreamYard to get that figured out. I don't agree with Dwyane on face value here because I don't think it takes someone that was better than you on the court to be able to analyze how good you are. So that part I do not agree with Dwyane on. But pride kicks in. He's a competitor. Of course. I'd do the same thing if Pat Bev said somebody was better than me. From Pat Bev? Really? Ay, ay, ay.
Ever the case may be, but you can never say no one is better than me or it's better than Jordan or better than LeBron. Like,
Right. I
not
get
better.
it. Right.
I like this player more. He did these things
That I like.
better than this guy. But as a basketball player overall, well, we all cold. That's why we all in the top 75. So you're not in the top 75. Stop talking about the people in the top 75. I don't understand where this come from.
What we talking about?
As in better.
Right.
Like we all in there, and it's everybody in that top 75 is better at something than someone else.
Right.
But we all in that room for a reason.
Hey, talk your talk.
Got a point. Got a point. Dwyane Wade, certainly no fan of Patrick Beverley's stance on his career. Can't really necessarily blame him. And I gotta say, Pat Bev's always made for some entertainment. Followed up with this tweet right here, as you see, they responded with the GIF of from the dunk contest a few years back. Damn, Flash, rent-free. Truth is the truth, and you were wrong. I shoot the three way better than you. Our career three-point percentages wasn't even close. D. Wade shot roughly 29.3% from three. Pat Bev shot 37.1%. 7-3 record against you. Also love gang. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I mean, come on now. Come on. What? Pat Bev, who you could probably count on two hands, one hand maybe, the amount of times he's led his team in scoring, bringing up individual head-to-head records to say to back up his argument just because he got his feelings hurt. Did Dwyane get his feelings hurt? Maybe. But who actually has the legs to stand on in this debate? And I shot the three better because I was camping out wide open in the corner, and D Wade was a 2000 slasher who didn't focus on shooting threes. It wasn't his game, and we're gonna compare him because James Harden is a late 2010s 2020 scoring machine. I mean, come on. What are we? I'm sorry. I just got to. Yeah, it's unbelievable to me that people actually take this crap and run with it. In this day and age, we live in such a age and world of misinformation and of delusion. Delusion, I guess I should say. We live in a world full of delusion, and in that world full of delusion, you get. I'm gonna say it. Shit like this that makes you just sit there and scratch your head. Sit there and scratch your head because what the hell are you talking about? Oh man, I shot the three better than you. Ray Allen shot the three better than LeBron. Is he better? Larry Bird shot the three better than Michael Jordan. Is he better? No. In fact, if I remember correctly, I think Kendrick Perkins shot a better percentage from the free throw line than Shaq. Does that make Big Perk better as a player? Not talking about Big Perk the analyst? Does it? I mean, does it? Does it really? I mean, and the heavens have opened, and I now have wisdom. Pardon me. Of course, I mean, that's just one instance. But for the sake of debate, let's pull up the numbers. James Harden versus Dwyane Wade in a nutshell. I'm going to go ahead and take the comments off the screen for a second just so you all can see the stat comparison. Okay, so James Harden's played more games, managed to stay healthier. Obviously, we all remember what that 4-1 playoff record was. Those of you that aren't old enough to remember, that was James Harden's lone NBA Finals appearance in 2012 as the sixth man with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hasn't been back since. That was 14 years ago. It'll be 14 years in June. Okay. James Harden averages 2 more points per game. D. Wade for the last 8-9 years of his career took a back seat to others for the sake of winning, which brought down his scoring average. And then obviously he had his later years in which he was not nearly the player that he once was. And of course, scoring average is higher. Rebounds, 4.7. Again, D. Wade played late into his 30s, especially for a guy that has no meniscus in his knee. Those of you that don't remember, when Dwyane Wade came out of Marquette, he had a meniscus removed from his knee rather than repaired because he thought it would hurt his draft stock. And he was already, wasn't highly recruited out of high school, was coming off of a phenomenal run to the Final Four. I believe it was his senior season at Marquette. Those of you correct me if I'm wrong. And he thought, based on medical science at the time, that removing it would be better overall for his draft stock than repairing it. Obviously, if he had the chance to do it over, he said many times he would opt to repair it, but he didn't. And he still won a championship in his third year as the primary option, would have won one in his second year had he not gotten hurt for games 6 and 7 of that Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit. Those of you that don't remember, that 2005 Heat team may have been better than the 06 team. And they went to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals after they had taken a 3-2 lead. And D. Wade couldn't go for Game 6, and he was really, really hampered in Game 7. And the Heat lost. And they came back the next year, and D. Wade had a finals performance for the ages. Until LeBron in 2016, it was the best since Michael Jordan in 1993. Really. Then obviously you've had some great ones since 2016 with Giannis and whatnot. But you go down the list. Of course, James Harden has more assists per game. James Harden had transitioned to the point guard, which has only elevated his stature amongst the all-time greats. Not saying that James Harden wouldn't have won an MVP, wouldn't have been first-team All-NBA, just strictly as a shooting guard. But as he's gotten older and his athleticism has waned, and obviously he can shoot, he's become a fantastic passer. Not that he was never a bad one, but James Harden transitioning to the point guard has elevated his stature and elevated his image in the eyes of many, many fans across the globe. It's just the truth. James Harden is, we can go down. Obviously you see D. Wade shot 29.3% from 3. He does have Harden beaten steals and blocks, of course, and field goal percentage, because even though James Harden's a much better scorer, he only shoots 44% for his career. Make sense. But get down to the bottom where it really matters. Of course, Harden will be in the Hall of Fame one day. Championships. Can you all help me? Does that say 3-0? Does that say 3-0 in favor of Dwyane Wade? It does. You don't know why? Because James Harden doesn't know how to show up in a big game in the playoffs. And then you have all these little Gen Alpha, Gen Z NBA fans on Twitter coming at me saying, oh man, he scored 36 points in this game. He averaged 35 points a game against Kevin Durant and the Warriors. And guess what? The Rockets had a 3-2 lead on Golden State in 2018. Yeah, they didn't have Chris Paul for the last 2 games, but in both of those games, the Rockets had a 16-point lead late in the third quarter. And then at home in Game 7, they missed 27 straight threes. James Harden was the catalyst of that. Then James Harden comes to Philly. James Harden has this all-time Game 4. Oh my gosh, James Harden, or Game 5? 42 points, I believe it was. Oh my God, James Harden is turning the page, and then scores 18 points combined in Games 6 and 7. What would LeBron's career have looked like if he played point instead of forward? Probably a lot of the same, because he was practically the point guard everywhere he went. I mean, he did most of the ball handling duties in Miami and in Cleveland, and everywhere he's been since. Only time that he's had a player, I mean, D Wade obviously once 2012 came along, took a back seat, and obviously didn't handle the ball quite as much. But I think it'd be the same. I don't have any reason to think it'd be any different. And that, to me, is the second greatest career of all time, and to many people, the greatest. So I don't think he did too bad in that department. But go on. First team All-NBA. Yeah, James has more. Whatever. What shooting guard was James Harden competing against during his prime, the years he was winning MVPs, that was remotely on his level? I can think of the guy who Dwyane Wade was competing against, who is the second greatest shooting guard of all time. A guy by the name of Kobe Bean Bryant. We remember him. Of course he didn't get it all those years, and of course the injuries played a part of it. That's with injuries, with no meniscus in his knee. With no meniscus in his knee, D Wade had the best finals performance in the history of the sport. Now, well, what about 2016? Yeah, you can make an argument. I think Jordan in 93 probably is still number one. 41 points per game. That's against a pretty heavy favorite in the Phoenix Suns. A lot of people don't remember that series. The Bulls did not have home court advantage. The Suns did, and Charles Barkley won the MVP that year. The big problem is that James Harden turns into Jim Harden in the playoffs. That deserves a laugh. It's the truth, unfortunately. That's been my mantra for him ever since I think 2015 was really the year. That block from Manu, that when he set the record for most turnovers in a game, in a pivotal game. Was it a Game 5? James Harden, and on top of that, nobody ever questioned Dwyane Wade's motives, ulterior motives. Nobody ever had to question Dwyane Wade's dedication to winning and to the team. Nobody ever... I mean, case in point, those of you that remember the infamous rant on James Harden by a Mavs commentator, this is literally one of the best monologues I've ever seen in the history of sports broadcasting. And those of you that don't remember this, we're going to pull the numbers down for a second. We'll pull them back up on the screen, obviously, on the other side. Those of you that don't remember this, every time somebody makes a comparison of James Harden over Dwyane Wade, or even to him, all I got to do is show them this video clip.
Ask the producer to pipe this into the Clippers locker room so I can talk to you, James. I hope you're taking notes. I'm telling you in advance, you're welcome for the wisdom I'm about to spew. Because, listen, I get on my knees every night and pray for someone to believe in me like Daryl Morey believed in you. You wanted a certain coach, they brought in Mike D'Antoni. You want to play a certain style, they played it. You wanted Dwight Howard, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. You wanted Chris Paul, they brought him in and got rid of him when you were tired of him. They brought in your old friend Russell Westbrook. You want to go to Vegas on off days? They looked away. You wanted the team to stay over so you could go out at night. They changed the schedule, and it didn't work. And you know what? You said, I'm going to break up with my whoopee. Not good enough. I see the bright lights in New York. I want to go there. My old pal, Kevin Durant. It's going to work. The big three. And all after 1 year, you wanted out. You realized, oh my gosh, I took this guy for granted, the guy that believed in me. I went back with Daryl Morey. They traded Ben Simmons for you. How did they pull that off? And you know what? You went there and you got a partner who got the MVP. He won the MVP. And what did you say afterwards? You said, they didn't hand me the reins. You're the point guard. You were holding the reins. And what did you do when you had the reins? You scored 9 points in Game 7 against Boston. You blew a 3-2 series lead. So they fired their coach. Not good enough. You broke up with your guy believing you again. You said, the bright lights of L.A., that's where I want to go. Let's see if that works. Listen, James, have you ever had those friends who had bad roommates? Over and over, they complained about their bad roommates. This guy's terrible. The bad roommate here. They never thought to be self-aware enough that they're the bad roommate. They're the problem. Hey, James, you're the problem. If this doesn't work this year in this system with this team, then you're going to go and point fingers at everybody else, and you're going to go back home and you're going to start swiping right for another team, and there's not going to be anybody left. Because, James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
I don't know. I don't know a better way to put it than that. That's a Mavericks commentator. That's not some bitter Houston commentator. That's not some bitter Clippers guy. It's not some bitter Nets guy or Sixers guy. That's Dallas Mavericks letting him know, James, dude, shut up. Dedicate. Be a leader for once in your life. Show up. Stop showing up out of shape and fat. Jeez, that always pissed me off. You've got all the money in the world, but you are more concerned about going out to Vegas on off days. You're telling me in your 30s you still want to just go out to Vegas on your off days? You go out at night, so they changed the travel schedule. And people lost their minds when the Ravens, hate to make another Ravens comparison, changed the practice schedule around, and then Mike Preston comes out and writes this bullshit column that says the reason they did it was because Lamar wanted to stay up all night playing video games. I mean, really? Stay up all night playing video games. And he never once cited a source because there was no source for this bullshit. Nobody talks to Mike Preston. And if they do, they're complete morons because from what I've heard inside the organization, inside the walls of the castle, they warn you about him when you come to town as a player and as a media, consultant. I know all about that. So this is the argument that people try to use. They just take green category and say, oh, that automatic, man. Look at the stats. It's all in the numbers. No, it's not. There's context to numbers. James Harden. If James Harden doesn't get it done in Cleveland, like he said, it's going to be the same old shit. Same shit, different day. Is that's the saying now? I know it was back in my day. Same shit, different day. James Harden, no knock against James Harden because he at his peak, man, he was fun to watch. And when he got going in the regular season, I mean, he hit some big shots. I do remember the contested deep game 1 and 3 against Golden State, but he could never carry that over into the postseason ever. And I don't know what it was. It was just like he was cursed. Still to this day, it's like he's cursed. He has a 40-point masterpiece in a Game 5 on the road to give his team a 3-2 series lead, and then he doesn't even score 20 combined points the next 2 games. One of those being at home. Granted, Boston ended up winning the championship, but they had him. And Joel Embiid was the MVP that year. It may have been voter fatigue for the Joker, but he won the MVP. James Harden, if you want to sit here and say James Harden is better than Dwyane Wade, be my guest. Be my guest, but bring an argument based on substance, based on facts, based on data that you can provide. That what I just showed you, okay, that has some data that could say, if you look at it just from a nuance, on face value, of course you're going to look at those numbers and say, oh, James Harden clearly is the better player. A lot of you weren't around to watch Dwyane Wade in his prime, and it shows. And unfortunately, that was 20 years ago now. 2026, that'll be 20 years since they won that championship in 2006. You know how much that bugs me? That bugs me so much that it even deserves one of these. Sorry, I'll be 30 in December. I can say whatever the hell I want, and this is my show. So, that being said, who's better? Dwyane Wade, James Harden. I do. Okay, so that's why okay, we know why the poll's not showing up is because the live stream glitched from where this one's actually late. So my fault, you all. But the pin comment, call in if you want to voice your opinion. Let us know who's better, James Harden or Dwyane Wade. You have 60 seconds to state your case. Maybe we get into a little fun back and forth banter, but go for it. Go for it. But before we go for it, we're going to get into today's sponsor, which is BioWorks Knoxville. BioWorks is actually the premier recovery and wellness headquarters right over there off Osprey Point Lane in West Knoxville. As you can see, it's very easy to go on here and book an appointment. All you have to do is go down here. You can either call at 865-240-4639, or you can go on here and book an appointment. I recommend getting a consultation with Kenny to start, because unless you are certainly sold on what you want, you may not know what you want. And that's what, when I first went in, that's what I discovered. And I'll have a reel here explaining that here in just a little bit. But those of you that need peptide therapy, those of you that are looking to do some retatrutide, the new GLP-3 that's helping people lose weight, those of you that need some melanotan to keep your skin dark, those of you that need some MOTS-C like I'm taking currently just to get that inflammation down and get your body to be a fat-burning machine, go right over there and tell them Cory sent you. They don't always only have peptide therapy either. You can get IVs. That includes ozone therapy. And what that does is they take out some blood, they pump it with ozone-rich oxygen, and then they infuse it back into your body. And that brain fog, give it 48 hours. I beg you. NAD Plus becoming a huge thing as well. And you can also go in there and get some IV drips. I love IV drips after a hard leg day because that magnesium helps me. You can get vitamin injections, those of you that are vitamin deficient. And of course, we've got cryotherapy, infrared sauna, and you even have red light therapy and compression therapy as well. So BioWorks Knoxville's premier wellness and recovery headquarters. Go on in, stop on in for a consultation with Kenny and tell him Cory sent you. He might like me a little bit more. And I like it when people like me more so than they well, no, I don't give a shit if people dislike me. But on to next topic. As you can see behind me, I am an avid Ravens supporter. Have been for years, and it's been a tumultuous year to be a Ravens fan. But it's been a fantastic, aside from a Max Crosby debacle offseason, to be a Ravens fan. And that started with Lamar Jackson showing up on the first day of the Ravens' voluntary offseason program, setting the tone, working out, running sprints, getting his guys involved. He was there. Derrick Henry was there. Trey Hendrickson was there. Zay Flowers was there. Mark Andrews was there. All the leadership was there. And this is something that's not been a regularity in Baltimore the past 2 years. I've never seen an athlete be criticized for not showing up to voluntary workouts in his 7th and 8th offseason more so than Lamar. And then he shows up, and what do? We move the goalpost. And that goalpost moving started with none other than the great Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. And I love Mike Florio, but Mike Florio, a.k.a. Mike Flores, he knows how to move them goalposts. I'm telling you, he should be a stadium construction worker. Because this is what Mike Florio had to say after they reported that Lamar showed up.
Yesterday, right near the end of the show, the Ravens posted on their social media channels a video of Lamar Jackson showing up.
They don't know the first thing about you or Walmart Plus. Like that Walmart Plus members get free delivery on more than just groceries. Free delivery on these apples and this shirt. Knowing about Walmart Plus is a beautiful thing.
Thanks a lot.
Off-season program.
Oh, man.
Apologize for making you all watch random YouTube ads. That was supposed to have been cleared, but, self-producing, that's the beauty of it.
Morning.
Slow motion, too. Look at this.
Another video of him out doing the workout. QB1 setting the tone, double exclamation point. positive reinforcement for a guy
Yeah.
who last year forfeited $750,000 by not being present for at least 80% of the offseason workouts. The year before, forfeited $750,000 for not being present for at least 80% of the offseason workouts. So here is the fair question. Hey, it's great that he's there. Declan Doyle made it clear there's an expectation, even though he was dancing on the line of a CBA violation. Jesse Minter told us at the scouting combine, it's incumbent upon us as coaches to make it worth their while to be there, to give them a reason to want to be there. He's there the first day, and this is the question that has Raven fans up my butt. How long is he going to stay? How dare you? How dare you? You hate the Ravens. Yeah, never mind the fact that 3 weeks ago I was the only one defending them when everyone was crapping on them for the failed Max Crosby trade. I was the only one trying to see their side of it. How dare you? You hate the Ravens. I mean, come on, folks. Let's be realistic. We don't know how long he's going to stay there. We've seen star players show up and then disappear. OBJ used to do that. Show up for the first day, talk to the media, see you in June. That's how it used to go. So it's a key question.
It is a key question. It is a key question. But he does what you implore him to do. And then there's another, we'll see how long he stays. I don't know. Falcon's going to be built to ass in the A. Yeah, right. Okay. Now I'll have to have a laugh at that one. I agree with the audience there, the non-existent audience. But it's just, it goes to show you that there's not one athlete aside from LeBron James, especially before he won a championship, that has faced this much scrutiny over every little thing he does. And one thing you have to remember about Lamar Jackson is he dances to the beat of his own drum. He doesn't have an agent. He doesn't have a PR team around him. He does his own thing. He shows up in his I Heart Jesus hoodie and he does his work. But it's always something negative. He's there. Those of you that remember, Lamar was there when they implemented a new system under Todd Monken. Lamar was there up until 2022, I believe, regularly in the offseason for OTAs. I mean, obviously, he's a young player. You want to make somewhat of a good impression. But ever since then, it's just been a nonstop, endless list of criticism and scrutiny and being under a microscope. And there's no worse person about this. He may, and I'll give him credit, he's still a fantastic analyst, and I love watching him. And if he ever sees this, I doubt he will. But Dan Orlovsky, man, we all love us, Dano. Like he said on the Pat McAfee show, we all love him, and he's a great football mind. But he obviously did not have very good sources, because the day that video was released, in fact, actually, I think it was minutes before the Ravens account posted it, and honestly, they may have posted it in response to this clip that I'm about to show you. But this is what Dan Orlovsky went on Get Up and said before he had to later eat his words in regards to Lamar showing up to OTAs.
The start of the second act. This is the start of what should be Lamar's prime. And I'm not going to overreact to him not being there. Maybe he gets there in the next day or two, but it certainly sounds like that's not going to be the case. And the reality for Lamar and the Ravens is this is the first time it's new for Lamar in the NFL. He's had relatively the same staff in place for the majority of his career, certainly when it comes to the head coaching position. Now, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new staff, and also you're coming off of the first time you were starting the NFL where you had a losing record. Lamar started 13 games last year. He was 6-7 as the starter. Now there's some games, injury, all that, but it's the first time, and so there's a little bit of what we're coming off
a wildly unsuccessful season, and it comes to our standards as Ravens fans. And completely honest, I don't know why pronounce Jesus in Mexico. I really don't. I'm not a native Spanish speaker. You remember I did. So I don't know that. But Tua's like Jesus. His comeback. Oh. Jesus and Ravens have a lot in common. Neither show up when you need them. Okay. I mean, oh shit. But it's fantastic to see. The Ravens will be announcing uniforms. They're team. I'm excited for that as well. The next flight is what they've called it. Man, this new regime, and we saw it at the league meetings. Jesse Minter didn't hint at it directly, but he's like, "Yeah, I think Lamar will show up." And guess what? He was. Declan Doyle said the same thing. They're like cut from the same cloth. This shows, without any doubt, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that Lamar is bought into this new regime. All of the leadership is. Every single one of them were there. I even believe Nnamdi Madubuike may have been there. And all we hear is just, slightly more hints of positivity and optimism when it comes to Nnamdi's status. But I really do think that at the end of the day, this is a major step in the right direction considering where we were in years past. And even in years past, when he didn't show up, he still had MVP-like seasons, and he still had one of the greatest statistical seasons in the history of the sport. But I don't know. It's always going to be something. Even when Lamar wins a Super Bowl, I don't think they're gonna. Critics will stop talking. They still haven't stopped talking about LeBron. It's dissipated some over time, but he still gets criticized for everything he does. Well, who will start, Tua or Penix? Fully healthy, I think Penix goes in week 1, but I think he's on a pretty short leash. I thought he was the guy of the future, but then obviously last season suggested that he may not be, and then he got hurt again. And the best ability is availability, and Penix is never available. And then on top of that, you get Tua, who's never available. I don't know. I really don't know. They got a better coach. Well, I guess we'll see. Stefanski's hold our breath, but free James Pierce Jr. That's up to the district attorneys in Florida, man. Even if he does stay free, I don't know if Atlanta will have a hard time keeping him. They really will. Remember, they didn't keep Michael Vick, and Michael Vick was a video game character in 2004 and 2005. So should have gotten Flacco. Oh, I mean, the Falcons could have used Flacco. He is Fluco, though, like you said in the comments. But he has a ring, an ancient history. But obviously, the conversation about Lamar did not stop there. It went on to First Take and on to Get Up, and this is we're going to be reacting to some clips of those. So ultimately, at the end of the day, does Stephen A. Smith knows what he's talking about? Probably not. But this is what they had to say on First Take and Get Up this morning. In regards to Lamar showing up to OTAs.
Voluntary workouts yesterday, a change for the quarterback who last spring didn't attend 8 of the 9 on-field practices before mandatory minicamp. Look who's here. Peter Schrager. I haven't seen you in a long time. Hello. Higher or lower on Lamar Jackson this upcoming season?
Higher. I think the expectations were sky high going into last season, and then we had to level them off and plateau them during the season. But this team has now been built around Lamar Jackson, and his appearance yesterday is not going to make a difference come January or February. We know that. Symbolically, it was such an important thing for Lamar to just say, I've got this new coach's back, I've got this new offensive coordinator's back, and I am not only the face of this organization, but I am here 10 toes on the ground in the building. I love the fact that Minter and him already have a great relationship. I spoke with Jesse Minter at the league meetings last week in Arizona and asked him, is Lamar going to show? And he looked at me and Laura Rutledge and he was like, we expect him to be there. And Lamar, he was there. I love the fact that the 29-year-old offensive coordinator with a fresh start and a fresh set of eyes in Declan Doyle. And I love the fact that it's no longer the same voice and the same message that we've been hearing in Baltimore for 18 years with the split from Harbaugh. I'm higher on them now than I was last year. I really think that this is a fresh start, and it's good for Lamar.
And I could not agree more. Because I'm going to go ahead and remove the ad from the screen for now. Because it is a fresh start. It is a new regime, and it's a new message. Like, I can't even, and don't like the hard Jesus push in professional sports. I mean, that's just going to be everywhere. I don't know. A lot of it's probably for image, but in Lamar's defense, he's always preached the Bible, so that's not something that's new for him. But, yeah, I mean, I don't see how you can't be encouraged by this, because at the end of the day, he's there. At the end of the day, he's there. And everyone said he wouldn't be. And he's clearly bought in. And everyone's like, oh my God, Lamar's not going to sign an extension because it didn't get done by Steve Bisciotti's deadline. Can you blame him? I would be cautious too, regardless. It's my livelihood and my money that I'm talking about. But more from First Take on Lamar's situation. This is Stephen A.
Last year. I really think that this is a fresh start, and it's good for Lamar.
I agree with you, but I don't think you told everybody the real reason why. So I'm going to push back on you.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson, we can act like we don't know, but he has something to do with John Harbaugh being gone. You know that better than most. You've been all over the story. You understand what I'm saying? And you know I keep my receipts. So I got you on camera saying it. So just hold on to that, okay? That's number one. Number two, understand that Lamar Jackson restructured his deal, created like $39.96 million in cap space for Baltimore for the upcoming season, okay? But after next season, that cap hit would be like $84 million. $84 million. Okay, so understand what that means. If he does have a subpar year, Baltimore's got some decisions to make.
And like Stephen A. Smith's like, oh, anyone needs Stephen A. You're making $20 million a year just to sit there and not know what you're talking about. So be my guest.
You understand? Because, of course, you know, you got to find out, you got to decide what you want to know. We can't imagine Lamar Jackson ever walking away from Baltimore. You ever letting him walk away from Baltimore. I mean, that's crazy. But in the same breath, this is the hard cap life of the National Football League. You lost Likely. You lost London Baum, your center, to the Raiders. You lost Isaiah Likely as one of your tight ends. So you've got those two guys that are gone, all right? Particularly with Likely, you're bereft of a weapon to rely upon. As a result, that puts even more pressure on you. To a lesser degree, Derrick Henry as well. I'm just looking at it from the standpoint you got a new coach that's asking you to buy all in. You're coming off your worst season, obviously due to injury, okay? But you've got get healthy, and you got to show up and show out, because now what happened here? We got a situation where Derek Mays in New England, they going to Super Bowls. Josh.
Steven, come on. Derek Mays. Derek Mays. It's Drake Mays. It's Drake May, not Derek Mays. And I do agree, it shows he wants to lock in and win, but I don't know. And I don't think that Stephen A. is not connected in the NFL. I'm sorry. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just assuming. No, Lamar didn't get John fired. John was on his way out the door if the Ravens didn't win the Super Bowl, because they kept underachieving under him, and that's just how it goes in the NFL. You don't win enough, coach is gone. And he got a job within a week. Probably could have had one within 24 hours. But I don't know. Stephen A. This is what disappoints me about Stephen A. is because I don't even have a chance to keep up with every single game that's on, every single sport, every single day. And I can still remember that Drake May was the quarterback that played for the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, not Derek Mays. Who is Derek Mays? Anyone? John would have been gone if it wasn't for Lamar. Yeah, he would have been gone. He was actually on his way out in 2018 had Lamar not came in and the Ravens made the playoffs. Derek Mays. I mean, those of you that know who Derek Mays is, please email me, info@sanningmedia.com, and we will have you on the show to give us some insight into just how great of a quarterback Derek Mays is, because I've never heard of him. I don't know who that is. But with Stephen A. now in the books, I should say, Get Up, obviously, comes on beforehand, before First Take, and obviously they shared their reaction, and this is what they had to say this morning.
About what it would mean if Lamar Jackson were to show up. He has, in recent years, not always gone to the openings of these voluntary off-season program days. And then within a minute of our having that conversation, coincidentally, the Ravens posted video of him arriving, and you were looking at it right now. So Dominique Foxworth, you're close to the situation. What message do you take from Lamar Jackson being there on the very first day yesterday?
Well, it's certainly a statement. I don't think he's there because he needs help working out. I'm sure he has trainers and all that, and he...
I got to cut Foxworth off for just a second. Did you see? I hate to say it, Lamar, you got to hire me. That pull-up game form was awful. You need to go down to an entire dead hang. You don't half-ass it. Come on, bro. Come on. You're way stronger than me, way more athletic than me, way more knowledgeable about staying in shape than me. Although I do have a certification. I don't think Lamar does, but he has professional trainers helping him. Tell Lamar to get his pull-up game form right. I got a weighted belt that I can send him right now. Sorry, Lamar, got to get your pull-up game right, bro. Come on. Come on, fam.
Skips these programs often and still has incredible seasons. So I think it's about making a statement. Lamar Jackson doesn't speak to the media very much, and the statement is that he is there in support of Jesse Mentor and he's bought into this program. We'll see if that extends to, or that turns out to be a contract extension in the near future at some point this season. But for now, he's sending a message to his teammates and a message to all people in the media and fans that he's bought into the Ravens in the way that I think all parties want him to be.
It feels important to me, because this offseason, they made themselves the Baltimore Lamar Jacksons, right? I mean, there are very few players in the NFL of whom that can be said. But by choosing him in a power struggle, which is the way this thing is perceived, like over the legendary coach, and having him involved in the hiring process for the new coach, like it's his team now. So for him to be there and establish on day one, I'm the leader, this is how we're going to do things around here, that felt important to me.
I take no joy in this show saying, is he going to come? And then he does show up. But I will say that is sort of the magic of Lamar Jackson, not having an agent, not having a PR team around him, where he's going to do things at a beat of his own drum. And fortunately, right now, it seems like the beat of his own drum is the same rhythm as what the Ravens are drumming. And I was at the league meetings last week. Laura Rutledge and I are sitting with Jesse Minter, and we asked, is Lamar going to be there? He goes, I think he is. And it wasn't like he will be there. I think he is. So right now, this is a great sign. You want Lamar there, and to Nick's point, this is more symbolic than anything. Whatever he did yesterday physically is not going to help them in September and October, but the fact that he's in the building and present, that is an awesome sign.
Greedy, to use your term of sneaky big news, this is sneaky big news because you have a rookie head coach who has about a 10-minute honeymoon, because they have massive expectations this year. Jesse Minter is not just a new coach, he's a rookie head coach. To have Lamar there really sends the right message, the way Peter said, symbolically. So John Harbaugh can handle a distraction of Dexter Lawrence. He has a lot of pelts. Jesse Minter is trying to establish himself. The best way to do that, it starts with Lamar being there, even though it's voluntary. I think this was an important first step.
And it actually is also, to whatever degree we consider this significant, a vote of confidence, if that's the right word, from Lamar to the new coach, right?
Right. And Steve Bisciotti said at the annual meeting that, hey, we want him here long term. So let's see if a deal, I wouldn't say is imminent, but you'd like to hope, if you're a Raven, that your owner came out and said, hey, we're going to get a deal done. Lamar's there. Hopefully something can get done.
Do we expect that?
I would expect that they're having those conversations. Eric DaCosta currently is the man there, and they've done this before with Lamar. A couple years ago in 2023, they went down there to Boynton Beach, and they...
And I echo those sentiments once again. I don't know how you can take any negative connotation reaction from this, because it's the thing that most analysts, especially particularly in the national media, have been on him about. And one of those is Eric Mangini. Those of you who know Coach Mangini, I didn't like this for some reason. And this was his reasoning behind that. I think it's pretty asinine that he said this, but you know, this is a show. John has Kirko Chains now, don't he? No, he's at the Raiders, so Clint Kubiak got him. This is what Eric Mangini had to say about Lamar going to OTAs. I mean, it's a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like it. I really don't like it.
You don't like him? You don't like him being there?
I just think okay. What was wrong with the last X amount of years? Why suddenly are we now at OTAs? Were they not important last year? Were they not important the year before?
Oh, Coach, this is...
Really?
Well, what do you want to do?
Were you did you not like John Harbaugh? Like, what was the reason you had? Why is this suddenly important now when it hasn't been important
But it
any
would
other
be
year?
more important if there's a new coach.
Right.
I think you
Or
can.
if you were trying to win the Super Bowl, might be important then too.
So hold on.
Maybe not.
So wait.
Or maybe if you were the MVP, maybe your team was coming off a bad season. Maybe I understand the transition, and as a new head coach, I would want my quarterback to be there. But as an old head coach, or a head coach trying to win a Super Bowl, or a team trying to win a Super Bowl, or if I was one of the highest paid players in the league, I think all those things are important. Why now?
Maybe coach.
And that is Eric Mangini coming out of a pre-production meeting in which they decided that somebody had to be the contrarian, and he was going to take up an asinine argument because he's the old head and the coach on the panel, and he's going to stick up for John Harbaugh. Let me remind you all of this is a team trying to win the Super Bowl. The Ravens went into last season with, on paper, what most people said, including myself, the best roster in football. John Harbaugh, before the season started, right at the beginning of training camp, said that Super Bowl or bust was nonsense, and anybody who ever said that had never accomplished anything before. What? What are you talking about? Super Bowl or bust is nonsense. No, the hell it's not. You've had a roster for the past 6 years that was capable of winning the Super Bowl, and you've had 2 1 seeds, and you've underperformed routinely. Some of that's on Lamar, but he got better over the course of the last few years in the playoffs. And John Harbaugh just doesn't know how to coach in a big game anymore. He just doesn't. Every big game that the Ravens have been in for the past few years have been they haven't game planned well, they haven't executed well, they haven't schemed well, and it all starts with the head coach. And that was John Harbaugh. And unfortunately, John Harbaugh wore out his welcome in Baltimore. And it's when you've been in a team and let's say your coach is underperforming and not the highest paid player is crazy. No, it's actually not crazy because John Harbaugh had been there for almost 20 years. And Lamar saved John Harbaugh's job, and Steve Bisciotti saw that. And they continually had bad game plans in the playoffs and big games. Kansas City, they ran the ball 6 times with running backs with the number 1 rushing team. Buffalo last year, or the year before, I should say now. No design Lamar and Derrick Henry read options after it destroyed the Steelers the week prior, and the Steelers had a better defense than the Bills. I mean, mic drop. You're not getting rid of your 3-time MVP quarterback. And I also was just scrolling through Twitter here just a second ago, and Danny Parkins ranks. Of course, Danny Parkins does this because this is just something that Danny Parkins is known for, and that's spewing asinine bullshit. Danny Parkins says that the best new current coach QB duo is Joe Brady with the Bills. This is an impromptu topic. I just have to listen to this because I have to listen to the idiocy that comes out of this guy's mouth regularly. I would love to debate Danny Parkins. I mean, he's a Bears fan. That shows you anything right there about how much he actually knows. But Danny Parkins says that Joe Brady, man, he's Joe Brady, who Bills fans didn't want to be the head coach, but all of a sudden, Joe Brady is going to be I don't know. Let's listen to this. This is off topic, but I have to get into the because he put Jackson Dart and John Harbaugh at 4, and so we're gonna, I guess, react to Danny Parkins' asinine take that. Let's just listen. Let's just listen.
Where you can kind of sneak a win. Coming in at number 3, the Falcons. They have a lot of questions. James Pierce has a really serious legal situation. Obviously, we'll see what that impact is. Probably significant. He was a huge piece of their pass rush. They play the Niners and the Chiefs as part of their third-place schedule. That's very, very difficult. But Kevin Stefanski in a dome with weapons. Like, what he did in Cleveland was pretty impressive. Now you give him Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson.
And you got Tua starting?
I think it's a straight quarterback competition. 50-50 shot. I'd give the slight edge to Penix.
I got to get Kevin Stefanski's PR guy. Everybody loves what Kevin
think he's a good coach.
Everybody's like, wow, He made the playoffs with Baker Mayfield. Yeah, Baker Mayfield's good. Like the
two-time coach of the year in Cleveland.
That's my point, because the media votes on coach of the year, and I need his PR guy. I just don't. I don't get it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think he's better than what they've had, and it's definitely better talent than he's ever had on offense. Coming in number 2, Bruce Ravens. I love what Jesse Minter did with the talent for the Chargers on defense. You bring in even more talent in Baltimore. And the reason that I separated it out here between 2 and 1 is pretty simple. The Ravens won 8 games, and Buffalo won 12. We have questions about both coaches. Joe Brady promoted internally, Jesse Minter from the outside. But I do think that the floor for the Ravens is lower than it is for the Bills.
No, it's not. And the only reason that it could be was because Buffalo plays in a weak division that is now spearheaded by the Patriots, who are a better team. Joe Brady has never been a head coach before. Joe Brady was never really somebody who lit you on fire of, man, look at that offensive scheme. There's always Josh Allen pulling something out of his ass. That's what Buffalo's scheme was. And he's going to sit there and say, oh, it's just because Buffalo won more games last year. What logic is that? What logic is that? Come on, Danny. What are you talking about, dude? Oh, they won last year. They still don't have a defense. They still don't have that many weapons on offense aside from James Cook. They have an old Joey Bosa? What? What are we talking about? How can the Ravens' floor be lower than the Bills when the Bills are not even the best team in their division? The only reason the Ravens didn't win the AFC North last year was because of injuries and because of horrible defensive schematics from Zach Orr and John Harbaugh. I mean, I don't know. Who is a contender in the Ravens division? The Ravens. The Ravens. They've got Lamar. Then, I mean, you could say Cincinnati, but they still don't have a defense. Bengals are better, just always hurt. You were number 2 in that division. Can you name me one player on Cincinnati's defense that gave up the most yards and points per game in NFL history last year? Can you name me one? Crickets, 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 crickets. They don't have Trey Hendrickson anymore because they wouldn't pay him, and the Ravens got him for a bargain compared to the pass rusher market nowadays. But my case in point that the Bills glazing has to stop because reality is going to soon hit the city of Buffalo. And that is that the Buffalo Bills are Josh Allen or bust, and Josh Allen or bust hasn't gotten him there. And yet if my dog hits my camera one more time, she's going to be in terrible pain, and you all are going to have to hear it, and I do apologize. But Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl. Yeah, in distant eons ago, he was in a Super Bowl. Yeah. They didn't win it. What does it matter? You don't want to be the first loser. Dixie! Dixie! Get out. I swear, dogs, these animals, I'm telling you, some of them are going to be gone when I get back from the West Coast. Most sack QB that season and still made it this. He made the Super Bowl because Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions and then Patrick Mahomes had an all-time meltdown at home. Whoever saw that coming? That's the only reason Joe Burrow made the Super Bowl. They haven't made the playoffs since then. What does that say? Well, since the year after, and that was 4 years ago. So, all I'm saying, y'all, I do appreciate you all tuning in. We're over an hour live now. Going to go ahead and probably wrap that up for the night. Those of you that are just tuned in, please go to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please hit that notification bell after you subscribe to get notified when we drop our daily content. And then go to sanningmedia.com and check us out. Finally, we have a website. Finally, I got it done. And we're going to have a lot more coming because I'm filming a lot of cool stuff out in California. Go subscribe to my personal fitness channel as well. Those of you that want to try to get involved in that. So, Without further ado, I do appreciate you all tuning in. This has been a Tuesday, April 7th edition of the Cory Sanning Show. I'm your host, yours truly, and I will catch you all tomorrow evening.